Welcome to Spidell's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane, and this week we're discussing filing California's Form 3840, which is filed when California property is exchanged for out-of-state property. An article on Form 3840 will be in an upcoming issue of Spidell's California Tax Letter, and the article version also includes information on knowing which parties have to file Form 3840 and how and when to file for multiple replacement properties. For information on a subscription to this monthly newsletter, go to caltax.com and click Publications. Taxpayers who replace California real property with property located outside California in a Section 1031 exchange are required to file an annual information return on Form FTB 3840, California like-kind exchanges, until the individual owner is deceased or the gain is fully recognized at the federal level. A taxpayer does not file Form 3840 to report property located in California that was acquired in a Section 1031 exchange. Also, if a California resident exchanges an out-of-state property for another out-of-state property, they would not have to file Form 3840. Form 3840 should only be filed if a taxpayer exchanges a California property for an out-of-state property. The requirement to file Form 3840 ends if the non-California replacement property is exchanged in a subsequent transaction for California property. In that situation, the taxpayer would file a final Form 3840 and attach a statement explaining that the replacement property was exchanged for a California property. Form 3840 is required to be filed in the year the like-kind exchange occurs and every year thereafter for as long as the gain or loss is deferred. The filing requirement continues until the property has been disposed of in a fully taxable transaction, the property is transferred through inheritance, eliminating the deferred California source gain or loss, or the replacement property is donated to a nonprofit organization. A taxpayer who converts an out-of-state replacement rental property to personal use still has to file the form because a conversion to personal use is not considered a disposition in a fully taxable transaction. If a taxpayer does not file a California return, the taxpayer will file Form 3840 separately as a California information return. The due date is the same due date that would apply if the property owner would have been required to file a California return. While Form 3840 is included in an e-filed California return, you cannot e-file Form 3840 as a standalone form. Either way, the form is due by the extended due date of the return. If a taxpayer should have filed Form 3840 with their return but didn't, the FTB strongly encourages submitting Form 3840 with an amended return. This will make sure that the Form 3840 is associated with the taxpayer's return, because the 3840 is generally required to be filed with the California tax return for taxpayers who have a California filing requirement. If it's filed separately, there's more likely to be an inquiry from the FTB concerning the transaction. According to the Form 3840 instructions, if a taxpayer fails to file the form, the FTB may issue a notice of proposed assessment on the amount of income deferred, essentially accelerating the gain recognized on the deferred exchanged into the year the form was not filed. But that's a little misleading. The law only allows the FTB to accelerate this gain recognition in a tax year if the taxpayer fails to file the Form 3840 and fails to file a California return for that year. So California taxpayers who file a return but fail to file Form 3840 would not be subject to this accelerated gain recognition. However, given that like-kind exchanges are one of the top audit areas, it may not be wise to forego filing 3840 altogether. If you're looking for other California-specific topics, we have upcoming webinars covering California's pass-through entity elective tax, California taxation of multi-state businesses, how to become a California non-resident, and critical California tax issues. For details and a full list of webinar offerings, go to caltax.com and click Webinars. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spidell's California Minute.